Hey all you cool cat and kittens. On this week's episode of the Modern Dealer Podcast, David and I are talking acres of diamonds, some good news, Tiger King meme, the CARES Act, and David is drinking a DALGONA coffee. All that and more on this week's episode of the Modern Dealer Podcast. Welcome in to episode 040 of the Modern Dealer Podcast. My name is David Farmer with Entice, and with me remotely is David Bertoncini. How you doing, David?
I'm good, man. Just another day in quarantine. Just on lockdown and enjoying things. Getting good at cooking. All kinds of crazy stuff, man. Got a crazy coffee that I just want to just bring out to you just from Giddy Up. So check it out.
Whoa! Stop! What do you got going on there?
Right. So this is trending right now on Instagram. This is the DALGONA coffee from Korea.
Okay.
So it's like it's like solid. Look at that, man. It's just like not going anywhere. So I'm gonna actually crack into it right here.
Whoa!
There we go. Bit of a leak, but yeah, man. This is I had one yesterday, and it's pretty. It's like a dessert.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably 1,500 calories, maybe 2,000.
Hope not.
Yeah, a little bit more cardio after that, I think.
Yeah, man. I have been hitting it pretty hard. So, but other than that, that's my coffee. What do you got there, boss?
I got Pike Place again going on this morning. This is probably cup number 6, I would say. I just got a fresh cup before we started. Got to get caffeined up. Got to get the day started right.
Got to bring it, man. We got to bring it for our audience because, we were talking before the episode started about, shit, man, all the doom and gloom. It's hard to keep your head up right now. So the good news is I was talking to one of our fans and, old mentor, friend of ours.
Yes. And
he says, you know what, man? Kevin Ector, he goes, I turn on the podcast just to hear something positive, to entertain, to inform, and to have some positive influx, man. So, but no, it's all good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, So today is Wednesday. We usually record on Tuesday. The reason we had to kind of push it a day, I got a little bit behind yesterday trying to get everything prepared for the podcast. I had a couple presentations. So, as a business and as an entrepreneur, we need to look at things to make sure that we are going to stay as a viable company. And the reason I bring that up is that we've kind of had an influx of dealers reaching out to us, an influx of dealers signing up with us based on the tool set that we're able to deliver to dealers to really allow them to have shopping activity done online. So it's kind of been a good thing for us to kind of be working through COVID-19, but I mean, there's still, there's still so many things to be concerned about out there right now. There's so much negative news out there. We really want to make sure that we are bringing some good news, right?
Good news. So we were talking about too.
Yes, that's why I set you up there, right? That's how I set up this transition for you. Some good news, which is SGN, right, with Krasansky?
Yeah, some good news, and just we'll find some positive, man. There is some upside to everything. There's a quote from Napoleon Hill that said, for every tragedy and every horrific event, there always was the seed of something great was planted to come. So, there will be something great to come out of all this. There is some positive as far as resets and everything. Stock market, there'll be a reset in the real estate market.
Yep,
so,
very true.
And if you're a homeowner, maybe not so good right now. But if you're looking to purchase here, probably in the next 6 months, it's gonna be good.
Yep. So we got a plus side to that, right?
Plus side to everything. But yeah, there's a plus side to everything.
So
at least we saw the good news that Corona had brought. It had stopped mass shootings and a lot of crimes.
Oh, there you go. Very good.
We get hear that in the news every other day. Mass shooting, mass shooting, mass shooting.
Yeah.
There were mass shootings.
And I've seen that the traffic is down, right?
God, hey, we're saving on gas. Traffic's down. I'm not eating out as much.
Yeah. Gas prices are, what, $1.75 a gallon right now? So gas prices are down, like you said?
Oh, man. I mean, it's what, like $20 or less than $20 a barrel right now. So it's gas is cheap. So it's, hey, there's some positive that's coming out of it. I mean, I know we got a couple positive things to cover, but I guess we can roll into the episode.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to bring up as we were talking before hitting record here is you were mentioning, one of our mentors, somebody that does listen to the podcast, which we love, was mentioning that in the general manager's office of the dealership that there was always a stack of cassettes. And then I mentioned this one, which was one of those, a stack of cassettes, was the story Acres of Diamonds. And you said that you weren't familiar with that?
I heard of it, totally forgot what it meant and what it is, but listen.
So Acres of Diamonds, and I haven't even really thought about this story in a long, long time, but it's a story that's done by Earl Nightingale. So you remember Earl Nightingale? He is a motivational speaker from, probably the 40s or 50s. One of his stories is Acres of Diamonds. And we're going to go ahead and take that story, and we'll include that into the show notes here. I'm seeing that there's some YouTube links for these audio books. But basically, the Acres of Diamonds story is this farmer isn't doing that well. Life is hard, and he goes out in the world to try to find his diamonds, right? Try to find his success. And he goes out for a lifetime, only to end up back to where he started on his farm, to find out that his diamonds, which are literal diamonds in this story, was right there on his farm. So so there's a lot of different morals to the story, is that that you need to be looking out for the acres of diamonds that you have right where you're at. So anyways, a great story, great motivational story. If you haven't heard of Earl Nightingale, especially with some of the Gen Z and millennials that we're able to communicate through our podcast, highly recommend listening to some of his stuff. I'm sure it's going to be as relevant today as it was 50 years ago. So very, very, very cool thought and story about old motivational stuff. And there's so much good motivational content that is available to keep you upbeat, up to date, and pushing through even in these very, very difficult economic times.
Very difficult times, I would say. It's going to be interesting, but what's even more interesting than these economic times? My socks.
Oh, okay. What do we got going on? So I wasn't able to come up with a cool segue to the socks because I wasn't familiar with what was on the socks. So this is going to be a surprise sock day, right?
So this is a surprise sock day. So, we're a little late getting started. I wanted to let you know I did get caught in a little bit of traffic from my bedroom to the living room. Because stepped on some Legos and things like that. So it's been a little bit tough, but in light of things. I did have the opportunity, so I said, what, I think I'll wear, last podcast, I don't think I had pants on, so I figured it's a good time to wear some pants again and throw some socks on. But anyways, so I got some socks, so I will bring them up here on my camera. Let's see here. So we'll flip it over, we'll hit it up here.
We'll have a remote sock cam going. So you'll have to do kind of a visual description for me. Our podcast listeners will be able to see it, although I'm not able to see it right now.
Okay, so I'll tell you. So these socks are from Alaska, and it's like a state sock, and it's got a big grizzly bear on it. And the reason I wore my Alaska socks because looking at the COVID-19 numbers all over the country, that seems to be the safest place to be.
Probably right. So we'll use So we'll use that as a segue to let's just do a quick a conversation about where we're at, so we can kind of memorialize where we are at today. So today is Wednesday, April 1st. So last week we had, what a great April Fools, right?
The April Fool's joke is this, David. Everything you planned to do in April 2 months ago, April Fools.
Yeah, exactly. It's gone. Yeah. So just kind of doing a check right now. So a week ago, we had 173,000 cases, 3,300 deaths. I'm looking at live information right now, see if it's there. 4,300, so an additional 1,000 over the last week, up to 196,000 cases. Really crazy stuff going on right now. It does look like the Dow Jones, we've kind of had it's kind of been hovering, but right now it looks like it's down 800 points today. We're at 21,089. A couple other stocks that we have been kind of looking at has been a Ford stock. So let's take a quick look there. So they're down 8.78% today, down to $4.42. Almost a 52-week low. Let's take a look at Carvana stock. I know they had a big dip back 4 or 5 days ago, back on the 27th. They were maybe it was even further than that. But anyways, they're at 50. They had a big jump up. They had a big influx of cash from selling off some of their receivables, from what I understand. But they're at $50.16 right now, down 8.95% today. So very volatile market. A lot of negative things that we could be focusing on, but we're going to focus on, kind of looking at automotive and finding out what we can do to kind of navigate these turbulent waters, right, Mr. Bertoncini?
Absolutely. Obviously, lots of good things you can do to navigate through the turbulent times. As we said, it's unsure of what's going on out there. But the good news is we can share some positive light on a few things. I did have something positive to share, and it just went out of my head, man.
No worries. Let's. What we can do is, one of the things I did want to talk about today, not going to be necessarily our main focus, and really I don't even have a main focus for today. I know this is going to be a little bit shorter episode because I do have a couple of things I need to jump on to later this afternoon. But one of the things, we are actually talking to Reggie Vaughn, who we know from our Southeast Toyota days when we were working at a dealership within the Southeast Toyota region. He was the director of training for Southeast Toyota. He's doing some really, really cool things in the automotive industry right now. He's actually going to be our guest next week. So we kind of had a brief conversation with him yesterday. And one of the things that we did briefly chat about is the type of support that's out there for dealers, or at least for businesses that have 500 or less employees, and that is the CARES Act. So that is the big thing that the federal government just passed. I think they passed it with 100% of the votes from both sides of the aisle, right? Which is very good. But there's some specific things that's really going to lend support to potential dealers or entrepreneurs, business owners that give us some access to some of those funds. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit today so we can find out really what is available out there. I'm sure that the dealer body that's out there right now is aware of this, but I think there's also some important information for salespeople, sales managers to really understand what also is available because of this act. So really just kind of getting into it, David, we the big takeaways that I see here is that businesses that are 500 employees or less, they can get access to federally subsidized loans through the Small Business Administration, SBA loans, through your bank or credit union. There are no personal guarantees on the loan. You can you can have loan access up to your total amount of payroll times 2.5. The only caveat there is that each person that's participating in that has a cap of $100,000 per year to be able to kind of normalize the total, your total payroll, but times 2.5 as a high. It really gives a business access to quite a bit of funds to be able to weather the storm. So that is available out there. And the other thing for employees, employees that have been that have been furloughed or who have been laid off, which we did have a brief conversation about that. I think it's exactly the same thing. Am I right? It's the same thing, right?
It's corn or maize, whatever.
Okay, it's the same thing. So
it's the same thing.
No differentiation there. So if you've been furloughed or if you've been laid off, you have access to your state unemployment. But in addition to that, what this act does is gives you access to an additional $600 per week, regardless of what your income was prior to, and for an additional 14 weeks, I think. So really, I mean, there's a lot of support there for anybody that's running into any challenges, especially in automotive. So if you are an employee that has been laid off, you've been furloughed, you have access to this. This does not start, I think, until February 4th. I'm sorry, April 4th. So Friday.
Okay. Well, that's good news. So if it was February 4th, I don't think we're going to make it.
Yeah, no, that would definitely not be good. So I tell you what, David, if it's okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut off our first segment. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back on the other side. Good for you? All right, we'll see you back here in just a moment.
Selling your car should be easy. Say hello to Express Cash Offer. You can trade in your old vehicle for a new one, or sell it to us. Either way, we'll buy your vehicle, even if you don't buy from us. You can get an Express Cash Offer for your trade-in that's good for 7 days. Here's how it works. Just upload some interior and exterior photos of your vehicle, along with a photo of your VIN and one of the odometer. Our professional used vehicle appraisers will review the information and provide you with an Express Cash Offer in just minutes. After a quick on-site inspection of your vehicle, we'll hand you a check, or you can trade it in for a new ride. With Express Cash Offer, we'll even take care of paying off your loan if you have one. Selling your car should be easy, and with Express Cash Offer, it is.
All right, welcome back into episode 040, and let's just take a minute and just reflect. It's been 40 weeks since we started this deal, so we're veterans. Yeah.
Like I was focused on trying to do something positive, and like shit, the most positive thing was our acres of diamonds, right?
Exactly.
Shit, man, that's a huge accomplishment. We're only 12 weeks away from hitting our 1 year mark. So what I was gonna say is, like, you know what? We have a little over 200 subscribers right now. We'll work hard to get to 1,000 by the time the 1 year mark. And that would be just...
Yeah, that would be fantastic. And we've been able to accelerate that number up. I mean, the more subscribers we get, the more they're able to share it, the more other people are aware of it. Hopefully, we're still delivering value and entertainment and information that is allowing people to want to kind of come back and, check us out. So I'm very thankful for being able to do this. I'm extremely thankful to be, in the situation that I am in now, especially as we're going through these difficult times. So it really is digging deep, doing the work, putting the effort in to try to build something. And that actually kind of brings up another thing that I want to start to do. And I really want to start to document in either a podcast format or in maybe a different type of format, but my entrepreneurial journey, not only what it's been for the last 10 years, but really as I am going through it. So I might start bringing a little bit more of that information into this podcast, because I think everybody is an entrepreneur, especially in the car business. I think it's a big part of being successful in the car business is having that entrepreneurial spirit. So anyways, good stuff.
Good stuff. You know, one of my favorite entrepreneurs of the week is?
Mm-hmm.
Exotic Joe from the
yes. So one of the big
2020. Let's run him for president. Let's get him out of jail, man.
Oh yeah,
Candidate.
That's probably brought me the greatest joy in the last week to 2 weeks is not necessarily the Tiger King documentary that I did watch a couple weeks ago, but all of the hilarious memes that have been going on. I mean, they're funny even if you didn't see the show, but oh my God, if you haven't watched the Tiger King, you have to watch the Tiger King. So if you're quarantined, you have to put the work in too. I mean, it's like I saw a meme just yesterday, whereas is like a person who has watched the Tiger King, person who hasn't watched the Tiger King, and the one that has was holding the other person's eyes open as they were forcing them to watch the Tiger King, because you have to.
It is such a train wreck.
Oh my God.
It's like any car accident. You just got to rubberneck and look at it and just say, holy shit, did that really happen? And it's crazy because right now, like on, they've been doing a couple like YouTube lives over there at the Big Cat Rescue, and you see all these people, these comments like, she killed him. Oh, I got the best one I got to send you to. It's with Tony the Tiger, and it says, your husband tastes great.
So if you haven't seen the Tiger King, I think it's a requirement at this point. I don't think you can even choose to watch it or not watch it. You just have to watch it. It's absolutely hilarious.
Last meme, and it was just like, it says, America, I'm bored, Netflix. What do you know about Exotic Joe and Carol?
Yeah, it was a buckle up, fuck stick. You see that one?
This train wreck.
Oh my God. So...
there's another positive thing that came out of this whole quarantine. You got to experience the Tiger King, and then we might even possibly solve this. It's a cold case, and
I know. That's actually a big part of what's happening now. Hillsborough County is asking for additional information. So, I mean, if you don't know, we're based in the Tampa area. Tampa is where the Big Cat Rescue is. That was Joe Exotic's nemesis, Carol Baskin, was trying to put him out of business. And, at the same time, she's saying how horrible he treats animals. It seems to anybody that watches this show that she treats animals about the same, if not worse. I mean, it's just such a crazy story. So, and so hopefully more people will serve up some real evidence about what happened to the long lost husband that Joe Exotic believes that Carol Baskin killed.
So, as we mentioned earlier, it's April Fool's. We don't have an April Fool joke, except all of our plans for April were crushed. But it is the beginning of Q2.
It is.
So we're into a fresh new quarter, which is going to be the most strangest quarter ever. But what I was telling you on the break is we've got, according to the president, we're supposed to be open for at least social distancing will end 30 days from now on April 30th. So we got a countdown clock of about 30 days until hopefully we are, open for business. It's not going to be back to business. It's going to be open for business.
Yep.
And that's just a different, a whole different process of business and such. You and I were having a conversation with Reggie. I know we came up with a couple of different names for this whole thing, but it's going to be a whole. It's hopefully dealers now are adopting this new sales process or creating their own hybrid sales process. They have the tools, as you mentioned earlier. Maybe they may have, Roadster, or maybe they may have Entice, but they need to have some sort of digital retailing tool on their website, and only, of course, the Entice tool would operate on a Facebook page. But you need to have something out there because you're forced into this process now.
Yep.
You didn't get into it, but now you're into it. It's just like me, and I've never used Instacart before or Target pickup or any of that stuff. Man, I'm using it every day now. I like it. I don't know why I haven't been doing it for the last year.
Well, you know what? Yep. So the big win in this this whole COVID-19 scenario that we find ourselves in right now, the big hero, I should say, is the internet, right? Zoom meetings is a new way of life. You know, Zoom is a technology that we've been using for quite some time, but everybody's using Zoom meetings now. So we highly recommend that you use Zoom in your sales process. I did want to pick up on one of the things that you just said as far as kind of a countdown clock. So it's April 1st. We're moving into the second quarter of 2020, which has been just a fucking train wreck. But actually, just while you were saying that, I got a notification that Governor DeSantis just put into effect a 30-day stay-at-home order for the state of Florida. So that's gonna interrupt business. That's going to interrupt a lot of things. So we're looking at 30 additional days of this quarantine. We know that the president yesterday announced that the next 2 weeks are going to be horrible 2 weeks. Look at the numbers that are going to skyrocket. He said they were saying, him and the doctors, that there might be as many as 100,000 deaths in the next 2 weeks. So pretty crazy times. Don't want to dwell on the negative, want to look at the positive, but we have to reflect on the reality of where we're at. Circling back around to what you're saying is coming up with a way to address this. So one of the things that we're looking at is to really trying to define what this new sales reality looks like. And I know that what Reggie was saying was a remote sales process. I like that idea. You were saying a social distancing sales process. I think that's a really good idea. And the way I'm looking at this from a technology provider standpoint is a digital first sales process. So we know that you go back 20, 25 years, the assumption that when customers came into the dealership is that they were starting the sales process, that we as salespeople were there to be of service, to provide information, to be able to educate the consumer about the product, to be able to provide the differences between different products and kind of move them into, you know, the benefits of whatever product that we were selling. So now, as we've talked on the Modern Dealer podcast in the past, is we really think that instead of being a product-centered salespeople, we need to be process-centered, process-focused salespeople. Really become process experts to help customers expedite the process because they're getting their information from the internet. So I really like the idea of this digital first, taking the assumption that everybody is going to do a ton of the sales process in a digital format first, and then we're going to engage the salesperson. So it's up to us as salespeople, sales managers, dealers, entrepreneurs in this business to change our approach on how we handle customers, especially in the next 30 to 45 days.
You know, our process has not changed in 50 years, basically.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I was watching Prince EA from Funnel Hacking. I was watching a video that he just put out. Well, he put out a year ago, but it was talking about the education system and how broken it was. And he showed a picture of a phone from, 100 years ago to a phone today, a smartphone. A picture of transportation 100 years ago, the Model A, to, a Ferrari today. Then he showed a picture of a classroom 100 years ago with all the rows of chairs and everything like that. Then he showed a picture of a classroom today, and he says, it hasn't changed. It's the same thing with us. Our sales process, here it is, in 50 years, realistically, it has not changed. It has had a couple new techniques to it, a couple new tactics, but the entire strategy of it has not changed. And in the book of Art and War, you can have 1,000 different techniques, but it's the strategy. And the strategy is coming up with a hybrid sales process that is the new way of doing business that you are now shoved into.
Yep, exactly. What I was thinking too is I remember a few years ago, I did some research on the sales process, and I wanted to find out if there was, how far back we could go in looking at a documented automobile sales process. And if I remember correctly, I was able to find something in a book format back from about 1930 that detailed a sales process. And if I remember correctly, it was a 12 or 13 step sales process. Between now and putting out the podcast on Thursday, I'm going to see if I can't find that again. If I can, I'm going to include that, in our show notes here, because it is very interesting. Is that we have not evolved nearly as much. And another thing that we were talking about on our conversation with Reggie is how customers have changed the way that they're buying cars, but we've not necessarily changed the way that we're selling them. So that's where there's a little bit of a rub, or at least that's where there is some opportunity for the true entrepreneurs of this business to see that gap and then fill it with this new digital first, remote or social distancing type of sales process. So very exciting things.
To bring up one thing from the video, that's the YouTube video of the 4eyes software that they were using.
Yes.
So in there,
and let me let everybody know what you're speaking of there. I found a YouTube video from a company that tracks automobile sales in the industry. We'll also include that in our show notes here. It's a company named 4eyes that tracks automobile sales, and they are able to really quantify visually the differences between the sales last month versus the first, or actually the second half, or the last 2/3 of March, and how much of a drop there was state by state. But yes, go on.
But basically, he said when it really became to awareness to the dealers was March 9th that, hey, Houston, we got a problem, is pretty much on March 9th of 2020. Forwarding to 20 days later on the 28th of the month, it was known that, hey, business has dropped basically across the country 50%. In some states, it actually had went up because the states that were more effective, you kind of almost go along the coastlines of the United States, your Floridas, your whole eastern and western seaborders and southern. It was the states in the middle, like your Utahs and your Kansas and states like that actually went up in sales because people were having to be forced out and go do business somewhere else. Just like today, The governor here in Florida basically had just kiboshed, new car sales unless it's essential, and that would be your parts and service department. But the interesting thing from that I did get out of it, he did say those people that the increase went up is from just kind of cooped up, cabin fever. When they got out, they're like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some pent-up demand, right?
That's what it is, yes, pent-up demand. So when that comes, supposedly May 1st should be our, let the dogs out day. That's going to be, when it's on. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens between now and the next 30 days of our industry, the car business, and how our dealers going to either they're going to adopt to this, or they're going to wind up like 2008. We're going to lose about 1,000 plus dealers.
Yeah.
With a lot of business, there will be dealers that will go out of
Oh
business.
yes. Yeah.
A lot of small mom and pop places.
Well, the good news is that we have that CARES program that's available for some of these smaller dealerships, and I shouldn't even say smaller dealerships. I mean, you're looking at companies that have 500 or less employees. Even I don't know how many dealerships across the country right now has in excess of 500. Maybe none. I mean, even the large volume dealership that we were at about 200 employees. So I mean that really, there's a lot of great support that's out there. So with that, David, we're 10 minutes away from a meeting that I have to take, so we're gonna have to look to wrap this up. So now I think it is time for Bert's 3 to
Ding, ding, and dong. And don't forget, the most important ding of all will be, if this is the first time you've checked out our channel and our podcast, please be sure to click subscribe, share, and like. Hit us up with some comments, and most importantly, turn on notifications.
Ding!
you are alerted. I don't know why. For 40 episodes, that still just cracks me up.
I love that. Yeah.
You're alerted every time that we drop a new episode. And do please be sure to check out some of our special editions episodes we have from our NADA in Las Vegas. We have a couple more episodes that we are releasing from that. It just COVID-19 had hit and just kind of everybody just kind of we froze a little bit, but it is all good. We'll get it out there to you as quickly as possible. But my 3 tips: number 1, you've got to create your hybrid sales process. And there's got to be something. We're going to do this, this, and this. Make your customer feel comfortable with the process. That hey, we're going to do 90% of this online. Get used to doing a full. Have your salesperson doing a full demo with the customer with their smartphone in their hand, walking around the vehicle and say, "Hey, Mr. Customer, here's a car you're looking at. Here's what's going on." That's going to be part of your process there. Chat providers. You may, if you're using an outside company just to do the chat that's on your website, be a good time to save some money. You may want to eliminate that and just take that in-house because you probably are losing employees. That job would be great for them, especially since they know your store, your culture, your inventory, and they know what your process is. So if you have maybe an outside chat provider on your website, that might be something good to save you some money and clip that. And I missed the story I wanted to tell earlier, but if you turn on the TV lately, I love watching commercials just because I get marketing ideas from that. And since we're in marketing, I saw that Domino's and Little Caesars are huge on this message they're delivering right now.
Touchless, right?
Touchless. So nobody's touching your pizza. And it's put in, like I say, hey, no human hands are touching your pizza once it's made. We seal it, and it's it. That's it. It's done. Nobody's breathing, coughing on it or anything like that to make you feel good about your purchase. So they're like, oh, I'm going to do that versus I always order from my buddy down the street, Tony's Pizza. Now I got to tell Tony, man, Tony, you see what Domino's and Little Caesars doing? Although their pizza still tastes like shit, I'm still going to go with you, but make me feel good about my purchase, So adopt a process to be like those guys to make the customer feel safe coming to your dealership for service parts, whatever services you'll be providing for them moving forward for the next 30 days. Make them feel good if they need to step foot in your business, or of course offer a free pickup or delivery for vehicles for service. That is going to be something that is huge.
Yeah, that's going to be one of those things that's going to change the industry. The way I kind of look at this now is that, we as Gen Xers, we've gone through different periods in our lifetimes that have fundamentally changed the way that we live in the United States. One of those things was September 11th, 2001. I think every Gen Xer knows exactly where they were at when that happened, when we found out. One of the things that has changed completely is the way that we fly and the way that we travel. Since we know that September 11th was because a plane was hijacked and it was forced to fly into the Twin Towers in New York City. So that changed the way that we fly. Now we have to go through security, and that's something that we didn't have to do before. We just went right onto right across. We didn't have a security system like that. Now we do, and millennials have never experienced life before having to go through security like that. So it really just illustrates that was a fundamental change that affected our lives, that still affect our life. There's going to be unforeseen things that's going to affect our life because of COVID-19 and the way that we're going to be communicating, the way that we're going to be selling, the way that we're going to be eating, the way that we're going to be buying toilet paper, all of that stuff. So, yeah.
Do you remember where you were? I remember where I was exactly on 9/11. I was in F&I class. I was in F&I training, and it was 9 o'clock in the morning, and somebody had came into one of the office girls came in and said, "Oh my God, a plane just crashed into the Twin Towers." And we're like, "Huh?" We didn't really think much of it. And we went downstairs on our break 15 minutes later, and it was like we watched the second plane.
Yep. We did the same thing. I was at a Honda. I was at a Honda store. I was actually driving into work, and I heard the first one, and I was listening to WFLA, which is an AM station here, listening to some talk radio news in the morning. They said that a plane had flown into the World Trade Center. It was like, a plane? I'm thinking, a little tiny plane? What are they talking about? And then I got into the dealership and we went into the conference room, had the TV on there, and then at that time is when that second one hit. So yeah,
everybody saw that one live.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, I mean, it just gives you goosebumps, right?
Yeah, I just got into.
Yeah, me too. It was crazy.
It's just nuts, man. But hey, the good thing that came out of that is, hey, we got some really good airport security out of it. We created Homeland Security.
Yeah,
came out. We didn't have that organization prior to 9/11, but Homeland Security was born from that, from the administration that was in office, George W. So all good, man. There's gonna be something positive that comes out of everything. Just like my 3 tips, and we'll some good stuff.
Yeah,
there'll be something good.
Absolutely. Well, that sounds good, David. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing wrapped up. So from David.
And David.
That's a wrap.
Gentlemen, my name's Joe Exotic, and this is Sarge.
He was like a mythical character living out in the middle of bumfuck Oklahoma.